Founding Titan Origins. First and most powerful Titan form that is Eren's Doomsday transformation, explored. In Hajime Isayama's renowned dark fantasy manga Attack on Titan and its current anime adaptation, the Founding Titan is a well-known, nearly omnipotent being, yet is still somewhat shrouded in mystery. The Titan is said to have godlike abilities, and its numerous users throughout history have basically shaped the trajectory of future events as they unfold in the world of Attack on Titan. The Founding Titan's powers play a crucial role in the plot as they serve as the main driving force behind the struggle between the Eldians of Paradise Island and the rest of the world, with many key players vying for its highly sought-after abilities. Most notably, protagonist Eren Yeager can be seen transforming into his gigantic final Titan form, the Doomsday Titan, in the 4th season of the anime adaptation. But what makes it so special in the first place? Where did it come from, and why? Here is a complete rundown of Eren's journey that led him to transform into one of the most horrifying-looking Titans to ever exist. A harrowing scream and an act of unconscious vengeance unlocks the greatest power known to mankind, the first hint that Eren possesses the Founding Titan. Eren Yeager started off as a typical shonen-style protagonist, trying to do good and save the people he cares about. However, in this much-loved giants versus humans anime, being a human with no superpowers and no way to fight against towering titans is not only tough, but it's also downright frustrating, since all you can do is watch, horrified as these giant titans destroy everything you know and devour everyone you love. This was also unfortunately the case for young Eren, since at the time he wasn't aware that he had any Titan powers. In fact, one of the most pivotal moments of his life has to hands down be the time when he saw his mother being eaten by the Smiling Titan. This happened during the Titan attack on Wall Maria, the outermost wall of the human kingdom in Attack on Titan. As a result of the attack, many people lost their lives that day, and unfortunately, Eren's mother was one of them. The village that Eren and his family lived in was raided by the Titans, and one particularly horrifying one set its sights on Eren's mother. With the town in ruins, Eren and Mikasa rushed back to their home, hoping to see it still intact and their mother alive. However, fate had something else in store for them. They saw that their house was in ruins, and unfortunately, Eren's mother had gotten stuck under all the rubble, which had crushed her legs, rendering her unable to run, even if they managed to get her out. The two young children tried their best to pull her out from underneath the ruined house, but to no avail. As the Titan started approaching the house, her motherly instinct kicked in, and in an emotional scene, she asked her children to run away, leaving her to die, since otherwise they'd also get eaten by the Titans. Hans, a lifelong friend of the Yeager family, showed up just in time and carried the children away to safety. However, that wasn't before Eren watched the Smiling Titan pull his mother out of the rubble, hoist her up, and proceed to devour her. A horrifying sight for anyone, let alone a young boy. This incident stayed with him, and most fans hoped at that time that he'd one day be able to dish out payback to the Smiling Titan. What both fans and Eren were unaware of at the time was that Eren himself was unique. He was definitely not a regular boy. In fact, his father, who had an attack titan of his own, had managed to acquire the Founding Titan and had passed it on to his young son, an event that Eren had completely forgotten. The story gets a little complicated here. Grisha grew up in a town beyond the walls and was constantly shamed for being an Eldian. However, as he grew older, he wanted to overthrow the Mali people and bring back Eldian glory. That's how he found and came into contact with the Elden Restorationists. He joined the Restorationists along with his wife Dina and dedicated his entire life to their cause, to destroy Mali with the help of the Founding Titan and subsequently restore Eldia as a world superpower. He even pushed their son Zeke to join the Restoration forces as they trained to find those worthy enough to infiltrate Paradise Island and steal the Founding Titan. In a dark turn of events, his wife Dina was turned into a Titan and set loose, and Grisha himself was given the responsibility by the Owl, the man who led the Restorationists, Kruger, to go and acquire the Founding Titan. To do so, he was given the Attack Titan by Kruger himself, since all people possessing the Titan had the Curse of Ymir, meaning that they couldn't live beyond 13 years of acquiring a Titan, and Kruger's time was almost up. Grisha then managed to find a way to get inside the walls and made a life for himself there as a doctor, as he carried on in his mission to find and steal the Founding Titan. 3 of Zeke's warrior unit co-workers arrived at Paradise as Grisha's 13 years were drawing to an end. Bertolt, Annie, and Reiner. Grisha discovered the offspring of Karl and the distant kin of Dina, while they were attacking his village and family with their colossal, female, and armored titans. Grisha then engaged in combat with Frida, the Founding Titan's wielder at the time. He was strong enough and managed to vanquish her and her siblings before becoming the Founding Titan himself, after which he went in pursuit of his son. Since he'd been asked to entrust the Founding Titan's abilities to someone that he trusted, he decided to give them to his son. Thus, in order to give Eren the abilities of both the Attack and Founding Titans, he located Eren, transformed his son into a Titan by giving him Titan Serum, and then had Eren devour him in his mindless Titan form. Eren woke up from this horrifying incident without having any memory of eating his father, and thus had no idea that he had the power of 2 Titans within him. While the events of Eren's mother's death was something that he was unable to control, considering that he had no idea about his powers, seeing the Smiling Titan once again devour someone he loved, this time his friend, caused his powers to finally surface. The Smiling Titan was none other than Dina Fritz, his father's first wife, and when he saw her during the warrior unit's attempt to capture him in the iconic episode titled Scream, he knew that this time around he couldn't just sit and watch. As the conflict between the 2 sides raged on, the Smiling Titan picked up Hans and bit him in half, killing him. Unfortunately, Eren was unable to transform by biting his hand and watched helplessly once again. As Hans was being devoured, Eren was comforted by Mikasa, who reassured him that he'd done a lot for her. She expressed her gratitude to him for standing by her side, showing her how to live, and lending her his shawl. Upon hearing her kind words, Eren appeared to gather himself as he found his determination once again. In an act of anger and defiance, Eren then screamed and swung his fist into the palm of the Smiling Titan once his hand had healed sufficiently. Suddenly Reiner, Bertolt, and Ymir all at once experienced a surge of force, and as Eren screamed, the Smiling Titan was tackled by another Titan. All the other Titans also seemed to undergo an instantaneous change, and they all charged and swarmed the Smiling Titan before ripping its body to pieces. Thus, finally, Eren got his revenge as he watched the Titan that killed his mother fall and be devoured, before taking Mikasa away from the scene to safety. This act of unconscious vengeance is what unlocked the Titan powers that lay dormant within young Eren. He only got more and more powerful from here onward. However, this was definitely not the end of things. Eren still didn't know the full extent of his powers, and neither did he know how to trigger and use them. Considering the fact that his newfound ability came as a major surprise to himself and everyone around him, he was made to experiment with his ability. He tried turning into a Titan, but that left horrifying results as his Titan dropped to the ground, immobile, and the people around him literally had to cut his body and separate it from the Titan body, since he was unable to transform into a Titan properly, and most of his body hung from the nape of the Titan's neck. His Titan was also not full size, and it had a lot of muscle mass. Many people at the time suspected that he was carrying the Founding Titan, but there was simply no way for them to know for sure. Further, Eren had been displaying powers associated with the Founding Titan. He was simply unaware of them. For example, the Scream allowed him to control the other Titans. He was also able to witness the past and memories, all of which were powers unique to none other than the Founding Titan. A bloodline of Titans hidden within man's world and the true kings of the walls. Why the Founding Titan matters so much. We already know that the Founding Titan wields immense power and is integral to the entire storyline of Attack on Titan. Notably, once it was stolen by Grisha Yeager and passed on to Eren, it triggered the members of the Rice royal family to set out on a search for it. It was using the Founding Titan's power that the Rice family would be able to continue their control over the territories. In fact, when Rod Rice found out that Eren Yeager possessed the power of the Titans, including that of the Founding Titan, he began formulating plans to capture Eren and Historia and bring them back to him. Under his instructions, Kenny's squad was successful in capturing the 2 of them, and they were brought back and presented to Rod. While Rod embraced Historia, he chained up Eren so that he was unable to transform into his Titan form and waited for the unconscious boy to wake up. This segment of the story was important since once Eren woke up, he seemed to recognize the cavern they were in, the Rice Cave, without ever having been there before. Things got even more convoluted when Rod and Historia placed their hands on Eren's body and triggered a string of memories for him. The memories were those of his father, Grisha Yeager. In fact, it was largely through Grisha's memory and his journals that he wrote during his time as a physician within the walls that we learned what exactly had happened and how he'd come to acquire the Founding Titan. Passing on memories, seeing memories, and influencing memories were all abilities that tie back to the Founding Titan's immeasurable powers, and thus was simply another indication of the massive amount of power that lay within Eren. What we continuously see throughout the series is Eren's demonstrations of ungodly powers that seem to manifest in certain ways that alert people around him to the beast that actually lurks within him. The Founding Titan was also extremely coveted. Once Grisha became obsessed with restoring the Eldians to their rightful place in the world and came across the Eldian restorationists, he was further exposed to the massive power of the Founding Titan. This was because the restorationists truly believed that by harnessing the true power of the Founding Titan, they would be able to bring back Eldian glory. Later, once Rod Rice learned that Eren possessed the Founding Titan, he also made efforts to regain it. This further showed the lengths people would go to acquire the Founding Titan in order to harness its godlike powers. However, acquiring the Founding Titan wasn't easy, and as per Attack on Titan lore, there were rules that dictated who could acquire the Founding Titan and who could not. Considering the fact that all of the Eldians capable of becoming Titan shifters only came into existence after Ymir Fritz acquired the Titan powers for herself, she was the beginning of it all. We explore her origins in another video. Be sure to check that out. But to put a long story short, only those people who were descended from her and the King Fritz were able to inherit and harness the true powers of the Founding Titan. This bloodline restriction meant that only people from the royal bloodline were able to acquire the Founding Titan and utilize its powers. Royal descendants, including Uri and Frida Rice, were previously able to use the Founding Titan's powers. Further, this bloodline restriction was also the reason why Grisha Jaeger, Eren's father, was unable to use the powers of the Founding Titan himself and instead passed it on to his son by making Eren eat him. In fact, while some of the other 9 Titans were captured by the Malayans before the story began, it's very likely that this restriction was a significant factor in the founder staying in Eldian hands the entire time. Furthermore, Ymir's connection to the origin of all living things meant that even though each succeeding Founding Titan was extremely powerful in their own right, they couldn't even come close to matching her power. The existence of the Founding Titan had always been clandestine and guarded. For years it had been handed down within the royal family, and its powers tied directly into the history and trajectory of the Eldians and Paradise Island. In fact, to stop the fighting and civil war that was raging at the time of the 145th King of Eldia, Karl Fritz's reign, a descendant of the original King Fritz, he used his Founding Titan powers to move people to Paradise Island, raise the walls and wipe people's memories of a world outside the walls. Such was the immense power of the Founding Titan. Once Eren became aware that he held the power of the Founding Titan, he began planning on how to use it. Soon, he learned that he could utilize the powers of the Founding Titan by being in contact with Zeke, Grisha's first child and Eren's half-brother who came from the Fritz bloodline, and that is when he decided that he would claim the power for himself. Betrayal, Blood, and Boons. How the Founding Titan came into existence, and how Eren Jaeger became its current possessor. How the Founding Titan came into existence is the story of Ymir Fritz, a young slave girl who tried running away but found herself fused with a power beyond her wildest dreams. After turning into a colossal titan, in a shocking turn of events, Ymir came back to King Fritz, likely because she'd fallen in love with him and was completely devoted to him. Once back, she stayed by his side for the next 13 years, using her Titan powers to build roads and infrastructure, cultivate lands, and even destroy enemies including the Mali. In fact, their relationship progressed to the point that Ymir became King Fritz's concubine and even bore 3 of his children, the first of the royal bloodline who would inherit the Founding Titan after Ymir was untimely killed. His descendant, Karl Fritz, the king under whom the Eldian Empire collapsed, had a completely different take on what to do with the powers of the Founding Titan. During this time of infighting over control of the Titans, Karl Fritz used the powers of the Founding Titan in a way they'd never been used before. Instead of using its powers to exert control and dominance over the families who were fighting over the 8 Titans, he decided to take as many of his family members and Eldian people as possible and move to Paradise Island. When all the people had assembled on Paradise Island, King Fritz used the power of the Founding Titan to direct countless Colossus Titans in the creation of the 3 concentric walls, named after the 3 daughters of Ymir, Maria, Rose, and Sheena, surrounding the last remaining territory of Eldia, in which the subjects of Ymir could at last live in true harmony. When the walls were finished, King Fritz issued a warning to the outside world. If any invasions or threats were launched against the survivors of Eldia, tens of millions of Titans would be released by him, and they would obliterate the entire planet. But this threat was just a ruse to secure stability and peace without having to use violence. Since King Karl Fritz was a pacifist, King Karl secretly communicated with the Tiber family and his living relations on the mainland, and then went one step further. In order to guarantee that neither he nor his successors would ever use the Founding Titan strength for payback in the event that the walls were attacked, Karl Fritz swore not to wage war using the powers of the Founding Titan. As per him, Fritz's successors would accept Eldia's destruction at the hands of Mali, if the time ever came. But his dying desire was for a period of peace to be enjoyed before Eldia's ultimate retribution. This started the vow against war that would be upheld by the Rice royal family until the very end, until Frida was killed by Grisha and the Founding Titan passed on to Eren. Eren, on the other hand, wanted the complete opposite. He wanted to unleash the power of the Founding Titan and eliminate the entire world except for Paradise. Eren soon partnered up with his half-brother Zeke when he realized that Zeke's royal blood coming from his mother, Dina Fritz, was something he could use for his own purposes, to unlock the full powers of the Founding Titan. He also learned about Zeke's plan and his vision of the future, and how it was far from what Eren wanted. Zeke planned on joining forces with Eren and using the powers of the Founding Titan to alter the bodies of all the Eldian people so that they'd never be able to reproduce ever again. This would bring an end to the subjects of Ymir by cutting off the bloodline, thereby ending the Titans and bringing peace to the world. Zeke, the Beast Titan, was thus often known as the one who hated his own blood. Soon after Zeke made his plans to sterilize the Eldian race in his own unique manner, all hell broke loose as Eren was apprehended by Marley forces. His loyalists, also known as the Jaegerists, fought bravely, but the battle kept raging as Marleyan forces kept multiplying and their Titan shifters kept entering the battlefield. Zeke and Eren fought bravely and even managed to turn the tide as both the brothers made use of their Titan powers. However, the battle was long drawn, and Zeke was heavily injured, which left Eren to deal with a large chunk of their enemies. Eren managed to escape from Reiner Brown, who was trying to take him down, but in a shocking turn of events, Gabby Brown shot Eren, decapitating him. While she did this out of hate and anger for Eren for killing all of her friends, she had no idea of what she'd actually done. Not only did she fail in killing Eren, she actually accelerated his transformation into his final founding Titan form. Once Eren's head was separated from his body, it landed in his royal-blooded half-brother Zeke's hand. Immediately, Eren Yeager awakened in the coordinate where all the paths converged. This was possible because, according to Zeke Yeager, who was able to catch Eren's head in his hand, he did so before Eren passed away entirely, which led to him ending up in the coordinate. Once there, Zeke asked Eren to carry out their original plan. However, Eren refused, claiming that all this while he'd only pretended to follow Zeke's plan in order to get to the world of paths, and that he wouldn't order Ymir Fritz to sterilize the Eldian race. However, Zeke believed that his brother's insolence wasn't an issue since Ymir only responded to those of royal blood, and Zeke needed Eren only as a key to access the power of the founding Titan. Zeke was nonetheless disappointed in Eren, but decided to hold their father Grisha Yeager responsible for brainwashing him. He then made the decision to save Eren by making him watch their father's memories. In a shocking turn of events, Zeke then learned that Grisha was prepared to abandon his mission to retake the Founder Titan in favor of remaining with his family, which was contrary to what he'd anticipated. It was Eren who had goaded his father into killing Frieda and acquiring the Founding Titan. Yes, confusing, but true, and seems like Eren had somehow planned this all along via using memories. It's after this encounter between the two brothers in the world of Paths that we're told the complete story of Ymir Fritz, how she became the Founding Titan and later established her bloodline. The true origin of the Founding Titan lay with this young slave girl who took shelter in a large tree, hoping to outrun the king's soldiers who were hunting her since she let a pig escape. However, as she ran into the tree, she fell into a deep hole filled with water, where a spine-like creature bound itself to her spine, transforming her into the first ever Titan. This spindly creature was said to be the source of all living things, and granted her enormous power. She then served the king for 13 years before passing away while protecting the king. King Fritz forced his daughters to eat the founder's corpse after she was killed, ensuring that the founding Titan's power was carried on. By directing them to carry on this custom after having children of their own, Fritz secured the survival of his bloodline and the Eldian Empire, solidifying both his and Ymir's legacies. Since Ymir's flesh and blood was the origin of all Titans, her bearing the Eldian king Fritz's children was why the Fritz, Rice, and even the Jaeger bloodlines could all access the Founding Titan and its powers. After dying while defending King Fritz, Ymir ended up in the world of Paths, which, thanks to the power of the Founding Titan, connected all Eldians across space and time. She was compelled to submit to the will of the other 8 Titan shifters and every subsequent bearer of the Founding Titan in the realm. There, in the world of the Paths, Ymir spent 2,000 years sculpting their bodies from the vast sands that covered the ground. The Paths also provided a conduit for Ymir and subsequent Founding Titans to communicate with the subjects of Ymir, create new Titans to do her bidding, scream to either create and control nearby pure Titans or startle Titan shifters, alter the memories of Eldians, or change their bodily compositions as required. It was in the world of Paths that Eren himself came across Ymir as Zeke commanded her to sterilize the Eldian race. However, having different plans, Eren reached out and grabbed a hold of Ymir, embracing her and telling her that her terrible situation could be over if she wanted it to be. He begged her to give him some of her power so he could end the universe. Eren further explained to her that she had the freedom to choose not to serve, and that she was a person, not a slave. She wasn't forced to continue to serve just because she was devoted to King Fritz during her lifetime and she could finally rest. Eren's emotional appeal to Ymir acted as the catalyst that broke her centuries of servitude as she finally cried and exercised her own free will. This also effectively ended the bloodline necessity as she handed over complete control of the Founding Titan to Eren. Eren thus made her realize that she had a will of her own, and this resulted in him gaining perfect control over the Founding Titan. The moment she granted him access to the full powers of the Founding Titan, a major transformation took place in real life. Eren's head became connected to his body via a gigantic spine that resembled the spiny creature that had originally merged with Ymir Fritz 2,000 years ago inside the tree trunk. This spinal column developed into a gigantic skeletal structure, which then created Eren's Founding Titan form, the Doomsday Titan. Eren's transformation into the Doomsday Titan obviously meant that people were in huge trouble. Considering the fact that he triggered the rumbling and also wanted to wipe out everything apart from Paradise, things could only go downhill from here in the Attack on Titan universe. The bringer of the rumbling and the beginning of the end. How the Founding Titan will impact the final chapters of Attack on Titan. Immediately after gaining his Founding Titan form, Eren used his newly gained powers to telepathically address all Eldians and make clear his intentions. He intended to protect the people of Paradise and keep the subjects of Ymir safe from all those that wished to eliminate the Eldian people. Not only this, but he also wanted to trample on everything that existed beyond the walls of Paradise to ensure that nothing would ever threaten the subjects of Ymir again. This meant that he was ready to bring to life the rumbling that Karl Fritz had referred to all those years ago when he raised the walls around Paradise. The rumbling referred to a cataclysmic event that involved setting the Wall Titans free to march across the earth, destroying all life they came across, signaling the end of times for Attack on Titan. Since Eren now wielded the power of the Founding Titan, he was able to control the Wall Titans and make them bring about the rumbling. Further, the transformation of Eren into the Doomsday Titan gave him one of the most iconic Titan designs in all of Attack on Titan history. This form loomed over all other Titans, likely being even bigger than the original Founding Titan, Ymir herself. Eren's Doomsday Titan was in no way similar to Ymir's Titan form look-wise, back when she was alive on Earth and destroying Malian soldiers at the behest of King Fritz. The difference in appearance was largely due to two reasons. First off, Ymir's Founding Titan was a composite creature created with features of every other Titan, including the colossal size, the jaw's claws, the female's shape, and so on. Eren might possess the Founder's strength, but his Titan cocktail wasn't quite the same considering he had within him the Attack Titan and the Warhammer Titan. Further, Eren being beheaded by Gabi was most significant to the appearance of his ultimate transformation. The distinctive feature of the Founding Titan, as seen in Ymir Fritz's monster shape, was an insect-like ribcage that extended from the spine and wrapped around the body. Eren thus had the same bony structure as other Founding Titans, but because his head was severed at the neck, his freaky Titan spine grew out of control and joined his torso and decapitated head, resulting in a gigantic skeletal structure that formed almost the entirety of Eren's Founding Titan body. Eren might have evolved into something more resembling Ymir Fritz's Founding Titan if Gabi had engaged him in conversation before decapitating him with a powerful rifle. Further, with Ymir on his side, he practically had access to limitless godlike power and was ready to carry out his plans. While his motivation stemmed from caring about his friends and family and saving his birthplace and the people he grew up with, the way he went about it can be classified as evil. In fact, his hardline intentions to trigger the rumbling and destroy everything apart from Paradise left even the Eldians speechless. Now, it remains to be seen how the people are able to deal with the Doomsday Titan and all the other Titans that Eren has let loose on the world. With its unique coordinate ability, Eren's Founding Titan will definitely be challenging to kill. Where does one even begin with a gigantic Titan made up of 96% ribs when you usually aim to bring a Titan down at the nape of its neck? Not to mention that Eren now commands a force of trample-happy giants with large feet and has almost complete power over his fellow Eldians. Eren can order other Titans to join the fray, or he can just watch as the rumbling annihilates anyone who stands in the way of his companion's security. Interestingly, according to many, Eren's attractive protagonist exterior in Attack on Titan hasn't always mirrored his inner darkness. However, now, his outward appearance is just as bizarre and repulsive as his motivations. Marvelous verdict, the Founding Titan concept is the cornerstone of the entire Attack on Titan story. In fact, the story wouldn't exist or be the same if we removed the Founding Titan from the equation. The concept in itself is extremely cool, and while the iterations of the Founding Titan are definitely not pretty to look at, the power it wields is incomparable. However, specifically, Eren's form of the Founding Titan is a spectacle and a half to look at. As the largest Titan to ever exist, it's definitely an incredible sight, but further, Eren turning into a gigantic skeletal Titan ties back into the Attack on Titan lore in the most amazing way. It also completes Eren's transformation from a typical hero into possibly a character that many might even call evil. All in all, this one is definitely the Titan to look out for as the final chapter approaches. Considering that Ymir gives Eren complete control of the Founding Titan's powers, it'll be exciting to see what he does next. How do you think all of this will end? Tell us in the comments section below.